Arya kills a dragon, 100% confirmed.
Warning, spoilers in this video. Don't watch if you don't want spoilers, or if you whine about everything. No one wants to deal with you.
Okay, so here's a roundup of what I consider to be the most important Game of Thrones news from about the past week. I've been a bit MIA. Sorry about that. You'll get a Game of Thrones A Song of Ice and Fire history video really soon, I think. It's been a rough couple weeks.
First, we actually got some new footage for the final season, but sadly, it isn't much. In their promo for what is coming soon on HBO, they gave us a tease of the final season of Game of Thrones, but only a tiny tease. We see in the few seconds they give us the Unsullied marching into Winterfell and Drogon flying above. While those at Winterfell, who have likely never seen a live dragon in their lives, are absolutely terrified, you know who isn't cowering or terrified? No one. No one is absolutely in awe of Drogon. Which, would we expect any less of Arya? Heck no. I wonder if she thinks if she can take the dragon's face and become one, because that's where I'd go with that thought process. Oh wait, we all know Bran works a dragon this season. I love that Arya's face matches more of Tyrion's wonderment, but definitely not the shock Jon had at seeing dragons for the first time. Of course, Arya is a bit more of a wild wolf than Jon. I'd expect that fearless child to be absolutely geeked out over seeing a dragon. Now, if you're smarting because we don't have a full trailer for the final season yet, I get you, but I'm sure we're getting a lot of fun stuff coming soon.
Next, Sansa actually gets armor in the final season. I'd put up a trash bin for Sansa again, but sadly, no one threw a temper tantrum last video when I did it, so it's no longer fun. So like I said, Sansa wears armor in the final season, and Sophie shared in an interview what that might entail.
This is the first time I've had armor. We had the idea of it being very protective, and she buttons herself up. I wanted her to have a bit of armor and be a bit more warrior-like. She's like the warrior of Winterfell.
I can probably think of about 100 people that I would consider warriors before you, Sansa, but okay. I do actually get her wanting to wear armor and to protect herself like we saw in the past season. She wants to make sure that no one can touch her without her permission. Given what she's gone through, yeah, that makes total sense. So I actually like the idea of her wearing outfits that protect her entire body because that fits with what she has gone through in her past experiences.
Sophie talked a bit more about her armor, saying it is jet black with thick leather or similar material. Personally, I'm excited to see Sansa in black some more because she looks badass in it. I also think Sansa in armor is going to be the hottest thing ever. Is she ever going to go into battle and wield a sword? No, or dear God, please don't do that for the final season. That would be so fucking stupid. But some protection against stabby whites is probably a good idea at this point. I still think we're going to see a sequence with Sansa running around in Winterfell as whites pour over the walls, and I think Arya will save her before she gets taken out by a white, and it'll be an adorable sibling moment. Sophie also shared that we see Sansa greet Jon in the first episode of the season, and she's been busy preparing the North for war. I want to see Sansa continue her role as Lady of Winterfell, and like I said before, I want her to rule the North at the end of the season. I personally feel that would be a wonderful end to her character. She left home to become a queen, and then she ends up at home ruling the North.
Moving on, Cersei's actress Lena talked about, well, how much she hates that fucking wig, which I can't blame her, but it's kind of hilarious how much she hates that wig.
I really miss her long, beautiful hair, but I understand the symbolism. So in the interview, she said that she didn't take anything from the Game of Thrones set like other actors have, but she couldn't wait to get the wig off her head. In fact, she is very happy she never has to wear that wig again. And if you follow her interviews, you know that she has talked quite a bit about that wig and how much she just absolutely fucking hates it. Hilariously, in the interview, she also shared she's very happy she got to play the Mad Queen, saying, "To play the bad guy is such good fun. I can do all the things I can't really do in my life."
Which, yeah, unfortunately, you can't really blow up things in real life without getting in trouble.
Oh, and apparently D&D shared with her what her character's fate would be to a certain extent. She admitted, "I knew up until the Walk of Shame. That was the beginning to the end, and I didn't know beyond that."
I know Cersei dies this season, but her saying that this is basically the beginning of the end for her character makes me really think Cersei dies in this final season, which, again, I just don't know where you could go with her character besides her dying in this final season, and probably with Jaime by her side or having a hand in it. But if you want to get some secrets about the final season, apparently Kit Harington is how you should go about it. She adorably shared.
You could get anything out of Kit. You could just butter him up with a bit of booze. He'll tell you everything.
I'm really going to miss how much of a family they all seem to each other, for the most part. So I guess I want to end with some random bits she shared in this interview.
She said they didn't shoot the final season in order, which we knew they didn't film in order. When she got the script for season 1, episode 1, she thought no one would ever watch the show, which, what a surprise that must have been. And she loved filming with the actors for her imp brother, father, and Varys. She feels there were a lot of brilliant actors on the show, which she's absolutely right. And I guess her interview has me most excited by the fact that there's a lot of outtakes of actors slipping on the King's Landing set. She shared, "It's all been glorious. The main thing was all the stairs all over King's Landing are really slippery. So the outtakes are just full of all of us going, ugh!"
If D&D don't include a huge just sequence of people slipping on the King Landing, I'm gonna have to re-record this, holy fuck. Okay, hold on, let me try this again. If D&D don't include a huge sequence of people slipping on the King's Landing set, I'm going to be so disappointed. Although I kind of think about Unmountain slipping on those stairs, which is not a good thing for someone of his size. I mean, anyone slipping on those stairs is probably a bad thing, but especially for a person of his size, ouch.
Next, the VFX supervisor for the show talked about the final season a little bit. He shared that one scale on the chest of one of Dany's dragons is now the size of the whole baby dragon in season 2. Which, yeah, those dragons have gotten huge. There's been varying remarks on how big they exactly are, but I'll just go with huge. On making the dragons believable, he said, "Sometimes we play the dragons ourselves to get the right idea of how they throw themselves around. That kind of acting connection with these dragons, it feels even more personal."
How would you like your job to involve acting like a dragon? I would love that shit. Sign me up.
Lastly on him, if you're not worried about the fate of the other 2 dragons, which I'm so worried about them, oh my gosh. He said that there is a very special sequence with the dragons, so now I'm imagining a huge dragon fight with a 2 versus 1. If we're lucky, Jon and Dany will be on their own dragon versus the Night King on his newly acquired undead dragon. I mean, there's no way we don't get a dragon versus dragon battle this season, though, and it's going to be terrible and awesome to watch. I'm sure Drogon will feel sad killing his brother for realsies. Oh, and if you weren't already scared enough about the final season, David Nutter, director for quite a few episodes of the final season, said this season will be spectacular, inspiring, and satisfying, with a lot of surprises and shocking moments. Also that our characters aren't just dealing with the White Walkers this season, but facing each other too. That's about as generic of statements as you can get, but I like that everyone that worked on the final season keeps saying how shocking it's going to be. Like, those of us that have obsessed about this show for years haven't thought of every possibility. I mean, I know probably average fans do not speculate as much as we all do, but man, I cannot think of a single thing that would shock me about the final season at this point. But with everyone that worked on the final season saying that the final season is shocking, I want to talk about an interview with Emilia Clarke because, surprise, she also said the final season will be shocking. She said, "It's going to be huge. That much everyone needs to know. It took us a very long time to shoot this one for a very good reason. But I think there's going to be some things I know there's going to be some things in this last season that will shock people.
Bring it. Sadly, she didn't get to steal anything from the Game of Thrones set. She shared.
I'm not going to lie, I'm just like a goody two-shoes. Everyone was watching me all the time. I tried to throw some things under the wig, hide them in my bag. Nothing.
Poor Amelia. So now I want to talk about how Bella Ramsey thought that we wouldn't take her character, Lyanna Mormont, well. She shared in an interview,
I was petrified when season 6 came out as I was expecting people to hate what I'd done and not like Lyanna. I was scared I'd be received in a bad way. I was very shocked people liked my performance.
I'm really happy people didn't hate on her because we've had enough people hating on childhood actors and just destroying their entire lives. Humans are just fucking garbage. Just complete garbage.
Now, personally, I think they may have pushed her a little too hard after she was found to be well-liked, but D&D usually do fan service and shove characters in our face more if they are well-received. I, at the very least, love all the memes that came from the love of Lyanna and her performance. If Lyanna Mormont dies this final season, well, I can see that happening, and I hope it's in front of Davos so he keeps losing little kids he's grown attached to. But at the same time, I would be sad. Okay, moving forwards. Interestingly, if you want to see the King's Landing set in all its 3D glory, you now can. Apple Maps has updated their 3D viewing of Belfast, and that includes the King's Landing set. Watchers on the Wall snagged some shots from Apple Maps, and it is glorious. Seriously, head over to Watchers on the Wall if you want to see some really awesome photos and just be up to date on Game of Thrones news in general. They're a great site and run by great people.
Okay, so that is your Game of Thrones news roundup from about the past week-ish. Like, subscribe, and let me know in the comment section down below, how do you think Cersei is going to die?